begin your project, first take a solid square and measure out from the edge of your board 4.5 inches. You can also mark this with your pattern itself. Then take the square, hook it on the edge, and draw a line at right angle across the wood. You need a line to cut to in order to cut straight. Then take a quickie clamp and hook it near the edge of the table. Also keep the part that you're going to cut near the edge of the table as well. About these quickie clamps, you can loosen up and tighten them with this lever. Place your second clamp further away, out on the other end of your project. Once your material is marked and clamped, you're ready to cut your wood. Always get a saw from the tool cabinet and carry it down, and always keep a saw down so that you can't accidentally cut someone. In starting a cut, line it up with your line and start the saw backwards. Keep both hands on the saw until you get a curve. It's a groove in your wood. And then cut down the line. Try and keep your saw so it's at right angle or 90 degrees to your wood. And the saw will always cut on the forward stroke. Keep your arms in so that you're stronger when you cut. Also, as you cut through, be sure to ease up on your cut so you won't gash your hand on the wood as you go through. The next step in this process is to take your pattern, fold it up, and place your block of wood in it. Once that's done, simply trace the edge of the car onto the block of the wood. We'll be using a slip vise for this next stage. And the slip vise is you simply reel it out and it'll slip out, and then place your project in and push it in. When you tighten up the lever on the vise, it will tighten for you. Then we'll have to make another cut for our car, and that's this angular cut. To start an angular cut, again start it backwards, but start it straight up and down, as though you're cutting right across the wood itself. Once you have a curve, take your saw and tilt it to follow the line. Now, of course, you'll have this set up so it's facing toward you so that you can see where you're cutting. You might also have to come in and make a relief cut in order to make the second diagonal. Next, we're going to shape the car with the 4-in-1 file. As you can see, it fits our pattern fairly well, except I've marked spots that were high. And you can tell where you need to cut by the pattern and also by looking at it to see if one side is higher than the other. And I've marked those portions. So we place it in our vise so it tilts up. And then you use the 4-in-1 file. You have a rough cut and a smoother cut. And I'm going to use the rough cut to cut this down to shape. And if you want to remove material quickly, cut across the grain. You might have to round the edges so it doesn't tear. Once you get it down to where you want it, use the smoother part of the file. Next, we're going to shape the car with the 4-in-1 file. As you can see, it fits our pattern fairly well, except I've marked spots that were high. And you can tell where you need to cut by the pattern and also by looking at it to see if one side is higher than the other. And I've marked those portions. So we place it in our vise so it tilts up. And then you use the 4-in-1 file. You have a rough cut and a smoother cut. And I'm going to use the rough cut to cut this down to shape. And if you want to remove material quickly, cut across the grain. You might have to round the edges so it doesn't tear. Once you get it down to where you want it, use the smoother part of the file. Once you have your car shaped, smear a thin layer of glue across your pattern. Lay your car on it so that it's completely even. Hold your bottom and pull up on your sides. You're going to be wrapping your project with your cardstock pattern. Your last step is to add glue. Your next step is to put your axles on your car. To do that, use a straw, and then measure your straw so that's the width of the car, 1 1/2 inches, and cut it off with a pair of scissors. Once you've done that, place them inside the metal shaft, put the wheels on, and your car is ready to test.